The real NFL preseason kicks off this week, and I cannot wait to see the Pittsburgh Steelers figure out their quarterback situation. That and more on today's edition of Locked On NFL.
The new Locked On NFL. The madman Tyler Rowland is your double shot of NFL espresso with the Locked On local experts on every major story. Get ready, Rowland is revving up. Locked On NFL starts now. Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Football fans, welcome into the Locked On NFL podcast, bringing you a double dose of the NFL's biggest stories with help from our local experts that know your favorite teams like no one else. I am your host, the madman, Tyler Rowland, joined today by Locked On NFL expert, the data queen, Michelle Majuk. Today's episode is brought to you by Kalshi. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app, use the code Locked On to get $10 when you trade $10. The NFL preseason is actually here this week, and I am so excited for all the different matchups. We have 6 games taking place today on Thursday. We're going to go through each and every game and talk about what we're looking for in those matchups. But we start with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I have to tell you, Michelle, they are one of my most interesting teams of the preseason because they have 4 quarterbacks on their roster right now, with Aaron Rodgers, who's the clear starter, Mason Rudolph as the backup. But they also have 2 young players, Will Howard, who they drafted last year, and then Drew Allar, who they brought in this year. And how those guys play, how they decide that quarterback situation, I'm just fascinated by it.
And I know Steelers fans really want Will Howard to be a thing. I don't know why. My dad is like the biggest Steelers fan I know. I grew up as a Steelers fan, but he just think Will Howard or Drew Allar could be like their next franchise quarterback. Most likely their future franchise quarterback is not on this roster, right? You have one more year of Aaron Rodgers, and the next offseason, you're going to have to figure it out yet again, like they've been trying to do year after year after year since Ben Roethlisberger has retired. It's going to be the same thing. Have you seen Drew Allar in practice? It's not looking pretty.
Well, I have not understood the philosophy here all along. When you take a young player like Will Howard last year, you should be doing everything you can to develop him and see if he could potentially be the answer. When you bring in another
6th round pick, this is there should be no expectations that he was ever going to step into a starting role. You draft a quarterback 6 overall. Yeah, you develop him as a backup. That's your goal, that he could be a solid enough backup.
Yeah, and I agree with you. But then taking Drew Allar, another young quarterback, I don't think that the expectations are in the wrong place. I think the reps are in the wrong place. There's just no way that you can get Aaron Rodgers ready for the season, have Mason Rudolph feel comfortable in the system and clearly be your backup, and give both of those guys opportunities to get the answers you need out of them. It's like on the college football video game, you got to use recruiting hours to figure out how fast and how strong all your different prospects are. Well, you're not going to have enough recruiting hours to get max understanding of both of those young quarterbacks, which just ruins the whole idea of potentially getting one. Maybe we get lucky and one pops, you know what I mean? And our guys over at Locked On Steelers, they talked about the reality of you just simply can't keep all 4 of these quarterbacks.
You will not have enough reps to go around to all 4 quarterbacks. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me if you're trying to develop 2 young quarterbacks. So to me, the decision has to be one of Mason Rudolph or Will Howard. I do not see a scenario where keeping 4 makes sense. If Will Howard's that good, Will Howard should be the backup quarterback. I think that's really the bottom line. And if he's not good enough, then Mason Rudolph should be the backup quarterback. I don't really see a scenario where it makes sense to keep all 4.
And based on what you were saying earlier, do you think it's backup or bust for Will Howard? Either he's the backup or he's not on the team.
Yeah, at this point, you either are good enough to be the backup, or, if Drew Allar ends up being the best one of the bunch and the 3, then the 3rd string, or you're not. If you can't beat out Mason Rudolph, then you can't make the team. And Mason Rudolph is a solid enough backup. He's as a starter for multiple games, absolutely not. If you need him 3+ games, but a game or two, he can handle it and he can be good. I think in these preseason games, it should be give Mason Rudolph maybe a drive. After that, he's a vet. He's been here forever. He's gone to so many different systems at this point as well. Let Will Howard and Drew Allar play pretty much the entire game and see what they could do. This is really a competition to me between Howard and Allar. I guess they're not going to cut their 3rd round pick, though. So, yeah, I guess they're right. It's between Howard and Mason Rudolph that I guess at that point. But they said with Drew Allar, like it sounds like a Mike McCarthy wanted to draft him and completely like have him as his project to just strip away everything that he's known about football. He said like strip everything that he's done and start over. But really, do you have the time to do that with your 4th-string quarterback?
Yeah, probably not. You're not going to have the reps. It's literally a rep problem. But that's why I'm so excited to watch the Steelers in the preseason, because I want to see their quarterback battle. Now, they're playing the Green Bay Packers. And for me, the Packers really can't do anything in the preseason that I'm real concerned with. At this point, a lot of their players have been around for a while. Systems are very similar. The Packers just need to grow up, get off to a fast start, and stop making stupid mistakes in big moments. And nothing that happens in the preseason can make me feel better or worse about that.
Yeah, we don't know how much these starters will play. And honestly, with all the injuries to their wide receivers over the years, like, do you really want Christian Watson and Jaden Reed out there? And then Matthew Golden already got a slight injury in training camp. It's like, you really need these guys to stay healthy because your wide receiver room is already looking pretty thin there. And then I guess in practice, from what I'm reading on The Athletic, is that the Packers defense is destroying the Packers offense in training camp, which
worrisome. No Michael Parsons. It's worrisome.
Yeah, and there's no Parsons there. Now, normally the defense catches on fast with the offense in any given year, especially even once you get into season, it normally takes a second for offense to ramp up. But I do think that's concerning with, their change, who's going to be the wide receiver 1 and all that. Is Jordan Love struggling, that he doesn't have Romeo Doubs? That could be something we're looking at.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is that they're basically replacing Romeo Doubs' role with Matthew Golden. And I just don't know that Golden earned that in year 1. That seems like wish casting to me more than reality, but maybe they're right. Maybe we'll see. But another team in the NFC North who's playing this weekend and on Thursday in the preseason slate is the Detroit Lions, and they just can't get right. There's always something with them, and we got another update on one of their best players in Kirby Joseph, who is away from the team right now, still injured, but also away from the team. It's confusing.
Dan Campbell said that Kirby is away from the team tending to a personal matter, but that his rehab is improving. He's doing better, and he said that he's on the branch plan, meaning that early in the season they hope to have him. All right? There's no way either guy's playing week 1. No way. No way. But it sounds like they're hopeful that sometime in September they'll get both of them back. But Joseph is away from the team right now and has not been at practice all week due to a personal matter and is tending to personal business. It has been a roller coaster, to say the least, for Kirby Joseph over the last year. That I can safely say.
It's been a roller coaster for the Lions. I know that you're high on the Lions this year, but I'm a little bit worried about all of the bad vibes around the team and just everything going wrong. So I'm looking at them in the preseason, and their depth better be impressive, because I have a feeling that they're going to be out there, especially in the secondary and in the pass rush.
Yeah, it's definitely concerning. I wanted Kirby Joseph to be out there. I thought getting at least him back out of the 2, you'll get Brian Branch back sooner or later, but they really need Kirby Joseph out there and healthy. So that is concerning. Hopefully he's okay in his personal life and it's nothing too serious. But then, it just seems like the hits keep coming for them. They lose Cade Mays for, I don't remember if it was season ending or how long it was. But
it's 10 to 12 weeks. It's still a long time.
Yeah, their starting center, which they brought him in to replace, to have a guy that they could feel comfortable with. And now you're going to have to go with maybe Juice Scruggs.
He's banged up too. I mean, it's ugly.
Yeah. So, I do really like the Lions, and they should be good this year, but the hits do just keep coming. We talk a lot about the 49ers having this crazy injury bug the last few years, but the Lions have as well. The Lions have been. It hasn't been with their star players on offense. I guess Aiden Hutchinson for defense, he did suffer that ACL tear. But they have had a lot of bad injury luck.
Yeah, well, I think that some of that may be the physical nature that Dan Campbell wants to play and how hard he is in practices. And you can over years of making the playoffs and playing extra games and then having tough training camps and to continue that path, it's kind of what's necessary in football, but it's also a reason why things don't last forever in football, because bodies just can't take that. And we see that with teams. I think San Francisco suffers from their own success. It's like what Bane says in the Batman movie, victory has defeated you. You know what I mean? Like they've been so good that it almost has hurt them now that it's carried on so long. But a team that hasn't experienced enough victory to hurt itself is the Cincinnati Bengals. They need to experience some more victory, and the Bengals need to get off to a fast start. But honestly, their offense has proven everything it can to me. I'm looking at those pieces on defense, how their young defensive linemen look, like a Miles Murphy, who needs to take a step forward, a Cassius Howell, who they drafted in the second round, who's a good speed rusher. Will we see any Dexter Lawrence, Jonathan Allen, Boye Mafe out there early on? The young linebackers that they're counting on from last year's draft, the new pieces in the secondary. Like I have a lot of faith that this Bengals defense will be better this year. And I guess I want to see some early returns on that faith in the preseason.
Yeah, and I don't know if we're going to get to see too much, right? Because I doubt the Lions are going to be playing any of their key offensive starters. That's what's so hard. It's like
they can play anybody.
Yeah, you want to see what these guys can do, but it's like it's so hard to determine. Okay, if they go out there and ball out, was it just because they're against the backups, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what everybody's going to say, of course. Yeah. But I don't really care about that. Like. You
got
to play who's in front of you. Huh?
How's Shamar Stewart? Do we know?
Hyperextended knee. It's not an ACL. It's not a season ender, but he's not going to play in the preseason, I don't think. I don't think that's going to happen, which is unfortunate because he needs that development badly. But, like, I still think the Bengals defense can be good enough even without Shamar Stewart being awesome this year or helpful this year, quite frankly.
Yeah, but for them to really take that next step forward and have the possibility to me like a top 10, they really need pretty much all of these young guys to not be stars, but to be key players and not be terrible.
Yeah, they're going to need people to step up for sure. And as many swings as they could have to have guys to step up would be better than having less. I don't think that Miles Murphy, he's a good player, but I don't think he's quite been what they wanted him to be. So there are still a lot of questions with their pass rush, their edge rushers, and the rest of their defense as well. So I just want to see it for the Bengals because they need to get off to a fast start. But with that being said, there are more games this weekend, 4 more games on Thursday's preseason slate. We're going to dive into all of them.
Matt Derry here from the Locked On Lions podcast. You know, life insurance is one of those things you don't really think about until you have a reason to. For me, it really hit home when my father passed away over 20 years ago. You start thinking less about yourself and more about the people who depend on you and making sure they're taken care of no matter what. That's why I like Ethos. They make getting life insurance simple. It's 100% online, no doctor visits, no needles, none of that. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in just a few minutes, and even get same-day coverage. And honestly, that's huge because life gets busy. You can get up to $3 million in coverage, and some plans are as low as just $30 a month. It's just one of those things that gives you peace of mind knowing your family is protected. Take 10 minutes to get covered today with life insurance through Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. That is ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. Applications may vary. Rates may vary.
Today's episode is also brought to you by Kalshi. Before the season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. Who's going to win the division? Who's going to make the playoffs? Who is going to lift the trophy at season's end? Well, on Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. You want Patrick Mahomes for MVP. You want the Green Bay Packers to win the NFC. It's all available for you. And on Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as probabilities change, you can buy in and out of your position. Trade the draft pick, the game, and more on Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app. Use code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade $10. That's KALSHI, Kalshi. Trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Kalshi products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see Kalshi.com/regulatory. All right, Michelle, let's continue today's edition of Locked On NFL. Again, we're looking at the Thursday preseason slate. We talked about the Steelers and the Packers, the Lions, and the Bengals. Now I want to move into a matchup of AFC contenders. We have the New England Patriots and the Indianapolis Colts. Things have been very interesting this week with their joint practices. A lot of highlights. Sauce Gardner getting shut down, but then some of the Colts receivers getting their get back. I hate one-on-one drills, Michelle. They're so unrealistic with all the foo-foo routes and all the timing, and even one-on-ones with offensive line play. Like, it's just, other than tackle play, it's so unrealistic. But regardless, I look at the Patriots. They went to the Super Bowl. They have a lot more expectations this year. And they have some new pieces on the team. A.J. Brown. They have Romeo Doubs, who we just talked about. They've added Elijah Vera Tucker on the offensive line, moving some things around there. Caleb Lumu was their first-round draft pick. I've heard Eli Raritan, the rookie third-round tight end, has been having a pretty good camp. Draymond Jones, Kevin Byard, some depth pieces. There are some new things on this Patriots team, so I guess I don't have a lot of big questions about them in the preseason. There are teams out there who I'm like, hey, they need to take the preseason serious, and there are teams who I don't think need to take it as serious. The Patriots are a team that doesn't need to take it as serious, but I still am curious how some of their new pieces fit.
I'm definitely curious, and we'll see how much we get to see of the starters. I like what they've done this offseason. What I most want to see during the preseason is this offensive line protect, right? Can they hold up and actually protect for the full 3 seconds that we need them to for Drake May? And no matter who's back there, in the preseason, we could still see, has this offensive line figured it out, and are they gelling? Are they doing well? And then also, my biggest question about this team in terms of like what I'm excited about for the Patriots is, has Travion Henderson been able to take over the starting running back role?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, from the sounds of it. And I mean, we might get that answer if Henderson plays a lot, right? That means like he's probably not the starting running back if he plays a lot. But those are things I'm going to be looking out for. And if Henderson still can't beat out Ramondre Stevenson, that's infuriating.
Yeah, I think it would be a major surprise based on the expectations people had for Travion Henderson coming out in the draft. Honestly, with the Patriots, the biggest question for them right now isn't even going to be taken advantage of or answered in the preseason game. It's the status of Christian Gonzalez, who was participating and now isn't participating. And my guy Nick Cattles from Locked On Pats talked about the latest update there.
Christian Gonzalez was not participating in today's joint practice. He was not there. This is the first time since the beginning of training camp where there was no Christian Gonzalez. Now, of course, the immediate noise is going to be about Christian Gonzalez's contract situation. Is this the beginning of a holdout by Christian Gonzalez? Is the contract negotiation the reason why Christian Gonzalez was not at practice on Tuesday? Now, before we get to that, I do want to mention Evan Lazar earlier today. He posted that, during the Romeo Doubs highlight touchdown catch during Monday's practice, that Christian Gonzalez looked like he tweaked something. During that play, both guys went up in the air. Christian Gonzalez tried to break the pass up. Romeo Doubs did a fantastic job of coming down with the touchdown catch. But during that play, when Gonzalez came down, Evan Lazar said it looked like Christian Gonzalez tweaked either his ankle or his leg. So the tweak, if this is a tweak to the leg, to the ankle of Christian Gonzalez, then it could be the tweak alone that kept him from practicing on Tuesday.
If he's actually injured, they don't need to play him at all whatsoever. Like, he's already had some things in the past. There's no need to try to rush him. Again, be a regular season team. But if this is just like, I haven't got my contract yet, and he was kind of upset that Robert Kraft was talking about the contract publicly, we always got to kind of watch out for that kind of stuff this time of year too.
Yeah, and I hope it's the contract, right? Like, hopefully it's not an injury. But either way, I don't think he should be playing, right? Like, if you're injured, obviously you're not going to be playing. But even if you're not, if you're waiting for that contract extension, I don't think his agent is going to say, yeah, go out there and play in a preseason game. Like, that's you're not going to risk that injury or doing something that could totally ruin you getting this extension. And what's taking so long? Like, you have, like, guys have recently got paid at the cornerback position. He's going to get the highest. Just do it. Like, that's where you're at right now.
Yeah, it sounds like he's probably waiting for other corners to get it so he can come in over top of them, but I have to wonder, when you're in a contract year like this, how quickly you're going to rush back if it is a real injury. He may take a couple extra weeks, make sure, and then he's not out there, and then their schedule's tougher, and there's natural regression, and people have tape on the Josh McDaniels, Drake May offense, and there's just a multitude of things that can happen when you don't have your best player out there because these things kind of spill over into the season. But they're playing the Indianapolis Colts, and I doubt that the Colts play much of their starters, and they've had so many injuries at wide receiver and everything like that. I think the Colts are a team that, whether it's right or wrong, which I think it might be wrong, but they're going to bet that what happened at the beginning of last season is who they really are. And if they just get healthy to the season, they're going to be that again.
Yeah, if I'm them, I want to see Daniel Jones out there for at least a series or two to see what his connection is like with these wide receivers now that he doesn't have Michael Pittman. I get it. Alec Pierce won't be out there, but Josh Downs is going to have to be a massive part of this offense. Now, Tyler Warren can also be like a key target guy as well. And they're going to need Pierce to be healthy and be able to step up in this new role, but he hasn't been able to even practice in this new role. So that's the whole thing too. But with them, their backup quarterback situation is really crazy because is Anthony Richardson really losing to Riley Leonard? I
think he's going to start, though. I think that's what they're going to start Anthony Richardson early on. So they're going to give him a chance to not lose that job. But yeah, he might be losing it.
Yeah, I want to watch Anthony Richardson. I want to see what he can do. Can he do enough in the preseason where possibly they can trade him for very little, but possibly trade him?
Yeah.
Or is he like a cut candidate? Or are you really going to keep Anthony Richardson sitting there as your quarterback 3? That's not really something we ever see after a team drafts someone so high to actually just keep them buried in their roster.
Yeah, it's not very common that they're going to do that. It's just an unnecessarily problem. The agent doesn't want it. Let my guy be free. You have no future for him. You're not going to play him. I'm with you there. He is absolutely a cut candidate, but his performance is going to be something worth watching. There are people whispering that his vision still isn't right from when he got snapped in the eye with that band in the locker room last year and that bizarre incident. So you just wonder what his mental situation is right now with what's happened to his career and all of that. And it's very perplexing. But we move to more AFC teams, the Houston Texans and the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are another team I do not expect to see many of their starters, which is, I'd love to get a hint of Mike McDaniel's offense, but I think it would actually be smarter for them to not let anybody see it. And with Houston, they're another team where it's just I don't need to see anything from Houston. They're another team that doesn't have to go too hard in the preseason. We know who they are.
We know who the Texans are overall, but CJ Stroud, we do not know who he is. After that disastrous playoff performance in both games, I think he needs to play preseason snaps because I don't think your first time he's out in a game, you want it to be week 1 after coming off of those performances. Put him out there. Let's see if he's shaking it off. Let's see what happens. And I do think Stroud has to play.
You know what? I think you might be right there. I think you don't want his first time back out on the field after that playoff performance being a regular season game. Let him, you're right, shake the dust off a little bit in the preseason, which I'm sure they will, but preseason week 1, maybe not that time. But I'm curious how some of the interior new pieces on defensive line and offensive line fit for the Texans. But I would say those two teams don't need to push it too hard. But two teams that need to approach the preseason in totally different ways are the Tennessee Titans and the San Francisco 49ers. And then we have a young quarterback battle with the Raiders and Cardinals as well. Do want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. There are more live events than ever worth seeing right now. You have games, concerts, comedy shows, festivals. The hard part usually isn't deciding what you want to attend. It's actually getting the tickets. Between long wait times, confusing checkout processes, and surprise fees, buying tickets can sometimes feel harder than it should. That's why so many fans are turning to Game Time, the app built to make buying tickets simple. You have upfront pricing, seat views before you buy, and exclusive savings opportunities to help you get to the events you want without the usual hassle. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to any type of event with Game Time. That's what I do. I bought all my tickets on Game Time recently. NFL, NBA, WNBA, MLB, concert, comedy. Download the Game Time app today. Create an account. Use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem the code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Today's episode is also brought to you by Indeed. When workplace chaos hits and you need the right hire, Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps connect employers with candidates who match specific needs like skills, certifications, and location, so less time gets spent searching and more time gets spent finding the right fit. People are finding quality hires on Indeed right now. In the minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, that's a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help give your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support my show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire. That's a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. All right, Michelle, let's cap off today's edition of Locked On NFL, breaking down the Thursday slate in preseason week 1. Real preseason games are finally here, and they may just be preseason, but can't help it. We're football junkies here on Locked On NFL, and we're excited for these matchups. But we moved to two matchups that I find very, very interesting that are taking place out on the West Coast. We have Cardinals versus Raiders. Carson Beck, Fernando Mendoza. I am excited to see the young quarterbacks. And I got to tell you, Michelle, I just have a hard time looking at Kirk Cousins and thinking that he's a better player than Fernando Mendoza right now. But there's a lot that goes into the Raiders quarterback decision. My boy Q from Locked On Raiders breaks it down.
What you said about playing the guy that gives the Raiders the best chance to win, that's all I've been saying the whole time. I don't care who it is either. Right? I know at some point Fernando Mendoza will be the starting quarterback for the Raiders. I don't need to see him week 1. I know some are pounding the table like they just have to see him week 1. I don't sign up for that. I sign up for the guy who can give the Raiders the best chance to win because this team needs wins more than anything else. They do not have wins. They have not had wins in the past couple years. They need to figure out what it's like to win games. How do you finish games? How do you close games? How do you build a winning culture? You don't do that by not winning games. So if the rookie quarterback doesn't put you in the position to win those games right away, then don't throw him out there.
Who is Kirk Cousins, though? That's what, when everybody says, oh, they need to win games, people say that with the connotation that means Kirk Cousins and that playing Fernando Mendoza means they don't want to win games. And I would just protest that Fernando Mendoza is better than Kirk Cousins right now. He may not be as mentally sharp as Kirk Cousins, know the league as well, but his physical gifts, his natural talent, his age, his youth, his mobility, the hope that he's going to give to the rest of the team because they see him as the future, like that could bridge the gap of the mental gap between the veteran and the rookie. Like I just am not convinced that Kirk Cousins gives them the best chance to win week 1 like everybody seems to be.
No, but they're not going to win a lot of games anyways, right? Like,
Maybe
so
not.
if that's the case, I don't want to throw Fernando Mendoza out there and maybe, things go haywire pretty fast and he's struggling and they're losing a lot of games and it gets in his head. Like, instead of doing that, let him learn behind Kirk Cousins. Like, you're not going to win a bunch. They really, really didn't do anything to figure out the wide receiver room. Like, who do you want him to throw to as a rookie? Now, they're talking up Malik Benson like crazy. Like, he's having a good training camp. They're 6th-round rookie.
Someone has to.
It looks like he might beat out Jack Besh, who they took in the 2nd round last year, for that starting slot job. And if he does that, okay, like maybe they found someone late in the draft that stepped up. But you can't just have Brock Bowers, and that's really what it's looking like. So either way, I think they're going to lose a lot of games, especially like week 1. Great. Like you could throw them out there in week 1. It's the Dolphins. Maybe that's a great matchup for a rookie to start in. But after that, the Chargers, and then you got the Saints, but then the Chiefs, Patriots, Bills, Rams. Brutal. And then you get one more easy game, the Jets, the 49ers, Seahawks, Broncos.
welcome to the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, it's never an easy week. It's always going to be a test. I don't want to see Kirk Cousins anymore. At least Fernando Mendoza can like gain experience himself. You know, like I'm not convinced that Kirk Cousins gives them the best chance to win week one. That's what I'll say about that. Now, I know that Jacoby Brissett gives the Cardinals the best chance to win week one. I just don't care. And they don't care either. And I'm tired of them pretending like they care. If the Cardinals cared about winning, they would not have gone into this season with Jacoby Brissett planned to be the starter with no competition at all. So don't tell me that you have to play Jacoby Brissett because you care about winning when if you did, he wouldn't even be your starter. Carson Beck is going to be their starter at some point during the season. It may not be week one. It may take time until they give up on the terrible dream, the fake dream that they're selling to their fans. But I am curious to see more Carson Beck after his performance in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be exciting to get to watch him again. It's whenever you get to see a young guy, a rookie out there, it's going to be fun to watch, and you're rooting for him to be good. And like, we don't want to watch Jacoby Brissett start games, right? Like, we want a young guy to take over and be good. Now, I will say, if you play fantasy football and you like Michael Wilson and Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison, you definitely do want it to be Jacoby. Like, I think once Carson Beck comes in, that could be worrisome for those guys. But in terms of actually watching the Cardinals games, like, you got to hope that Beck can show something and be better and be more exciting than a Jacoby Brissett.
At least there's a chance.
Yeah.
He's your long-term quarterback of the future. There's no chance with Jacoby Brissett. Now, the last game that we want to talk about here, a little bit of home cooking for me and Michelle. It's the Tennessee Titans against the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are basically not going to play anybody in this game, and the Titans are probably going to play their starters a couple of series. I think that makes sense. Like, the Titans need to build some momentum, and it's a brand new team with new players and new coaches. They need a lot of reps and opportunities. Like, there's no reason to be like, oh, we've been there. We can kind of just coast through. But the 49ers are the opposite. They're a good team. They're dealing with injuries. They should not be pressing too hard during the preseason. Do you agree or disagree?
Absolutely. I mean, they can't even stay healthy in practice. Don't put them out there in training camp. They barely, like, their depth is already looking sketchy going into the season, right? If they do deal with injuries. So, and they're an older team, no reason to put them out there, especially in week one. But the Titans, and you want to see them show promise against backups, right? Like, they get to do this against backups. Let's see what you can do. And they should be out there for a whole half, right? Like, maybe not Calvin Ridley or any of like the the veterans who have been there for a while, Jeffrey Simmons.
Jeff Simmons.
But I mean, everyone else get out there. I want to see what Cardinal Tate can do. Like, let's go. Like, I'm excited. And they just have so many new pieces. And overall, we think this team could be much better. So this will be fun to watch them in the preseason if they're actually playing these guys.
Yeah, and the Titans still have a battle on their offensive line for a starter spot at right guard that a rookie may be winning right now, a rookie pick out of the fourth round in Fernando Carmona. The San Francisco 49ers have a battle at left guard that is having some people in San Francisco worried right now as to what they're going to do there. So there's a lot to figure out for these teams. And, I mean, I want to see Dazon Stribling, who everybody was saying he was dominating in the joint practice earlier this week. So his name is attached with a lot of buzz right now for right and wrong. People want to debate his pick and stuff. And for that reason, he's always going to be an interesting player to watch.
Yeah, Dazon Stribling, I want to see his speed out there. I want to see him get open because I don't know if Mac Jones is playing, right? You would think he'd be starting if Brock Purdy's not, but also, like, you don't want Mac Jones to get hurt.
He's such a good backup. He might not be, like, he's such a good backup that you don't play him, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what we're going to get there at quarterback, if anyone will actually be able to get him the ball, if Brock Purdy and Mac Jones are both out and they have to go, with their seventh round guy from last year, and who knows, right? But in terms of the left guard situation, the 49ers did that to themselves. Like, embarrassing that they did not try to fix that this offseason. And same thing with their safety group. I think their safety group is going to be one of the worst in the league too, and they've done nothing to fix that. So two things I'll be eyeing for sure is that left guard position and the safety group.
Yeah, it'll be the secondary is a concern, but hey, Jair Brown had an interception on Cam Ward in practice this week, so maybe they're hey, they get to play more free now in Raheem Morris's system, and Robert Saleh was so strict on the rules and everything, so we'll see how things go for the secondary in San Francisco. But with that being said, that's going to do it for today's edition of Locked On NFL. I am your host, the Madman Tyler Rowland, for my co-host, the Data Queen Michelle Majuk. As we tell you every episode, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe out there.
Bye, y'all.